TLC informs us that this wedding will be remembered in our algorithm because it is unique. Andrea, the girlfriend of Tammy's 1,000-pound sister, is getting married and has given Amy and her husband the date, along with the whole family. In an effort to make Amy's wedding special, Tammy has organized numerous activities for the entire family, and her girlfriend Andrea has begun inviting her friends. In Dixon, Kentucky, there was the most excitement because Tammy Slaton's girlfriend Andrea's wedding was finally taking place. However, this was no ordinary wedding. TLC claims that because this wedding is unique, full of love, laughter, and change, it will be remembered in their algorithm. Andrea had finally announced the wedding date to Amy, her husband Michael, and the whole Slaton family after months of preparation. Amy yelled so loudly that Tammy could hear her from the other side of the house when she received the lovely ivory and gold invitation in the mail. "Hey Tammy, Andrea is getting married, girl. Is it not unbelievable?" Amy shouted and waved the invitation. Tammy smiled and rolled her eyes. "I can believe it, of course. Since March, she has been discussing it daily." In her heart, however, Tammy felt emotional and proud. Andrea was more than simply her partner. She served as her source of inspiration. After years of hardship, she had assisted Tammy in regaining her self-worth, joy, and confidence. More than merely a ceremony, the wedding would serve as a testament to everyone's progress. Tammy desired for Andrea's special day to be flawless. She was in charge of the decorations in spite of her mobility issues. Together with Amy and the family, she transformed Andrea's garden into a location straight out of a fairy tale. The path was lined with silk flowers, string lights twinkled above the trees, and a handcrafted wooden arch, adorned with Andrea's favorite sunflowers and white roses, loomed tall. Amy offered to make the wedding cake herself because she is a creative person. In her TLC confessional, she boasted on camera, "I'm making a 3-tier strawberry dream cake with whipped cream frosting. There won't be a Walmart cake at my sister's daughter's wedding." Their brother Chris also became involved. In addition to promising to barbecue enough ribs to serve the entire town, he constructed the dance floor. TLC teams documented every stage of the event, including the laughing, the poignant moments, and, of course, the mayhem that inevitably accompanied a Slaton event. Naturally, a narrative about the 1,000-pound sisters wouldn't be complete without some drama. Amy and Tammy argued bitterly about the seating arrangements a few days prior to the wedding. Amy requested that the seating be balanced, while Tammy wanted her and Andrea's side of the family close to the front. "Girl, when my girlfriend gets married, I'm not sitting behind nobody." Tammy let out a bark. "You'll sit where I put you, or I'll make you wear a bridesmaid dress 2 sizes smaller," Amy retorted. For a moment, things were uncomfortable. Then Andrea's cool voice broke the tension. She whispered, "Ladies, today is about love. Let's keep it calm." Tammy's heart melted at what she said. In a whisper, Tammy said, "You always know what to say, baby." Like a dream, the wedding morning dawned. Andrea was dressed in a gown with exquisite lace sleeves and a flowing champagne tone. Andrea stared in the mirror while Tammy held her hand and assisted her in getting ready. Tammy cried as she remarked, "You look like an angel." Andrea grinned, "And you appear to be the reason I am able to fly." The seats outside started to fill up. As promised, Chris was grilling ribs on the grill, Michael was holding their sons, and Amy was wearing a pastel blue dress. Everyone looked toward the aisle as soon as the music began. Andrea carried a bouquet of sunflowers as she walked gently down. Even the TLC crew appeared to hold their breath as the audience went silent. Before the vows, Tammy was the one who gave a little speech. "Love ain't always easy to find," she remarked, her voice trembling. "But everything changes when you do. I am honored to stand by your side today, Andrea, since you have truly showed me what love is all about." Cheers erupted as the ceremony came to a close with a kiss beneath the luminous archway. Until dusk, the Slaton family ate, laughed, and danced. Fans showered social media with love and tears after TLC's program, Andrea's Big Day, a love beyond weight and walls, which praised Tammy's emotional turnaround and her close bond with Andrea. This wedding ain't just about Andrea getting hitched. It's about all of us learning how to love better, forgive faster, and celebrate life a little louder, Amy stated in her final confessional. Yeah, and maybe next time, it'll be my turn to walk down that aisle, Tammy said with a smile next to her. The family laughed, hugged, and vowed that this was a day that no one would ever forget as fireworks pierced the Kentucky sky. But Amy Slaton Halterman entered Tammy's room with a broad smile on her face just as the sun had just begun to rise in Kentucky. Hey Tammy, girl, get up. London is our destination, she shrieked and raised a gleaming blue passport. Wrapped in her warm blanket and partly sleeping, Tammy blinked in bewilderment. London? The London, perhaps? With Big Ben and his pretentious, faceless guards? Tammy rubbed her eyes and murmured, That London, indeed. Amy answered with pride. For a special UK crossover episode, TLC is taking us there. They want to demonstrate how we manage our first international trip. Even though Tammy moaned, her eyes were sparkling. I have never been on an aircraft before, girl. Are you certain it can hold everything? She patted her side and giggled. Amy laughed. Each of us will require 2 seats, but TLC has that covered. It's a component of the International Sisters experience, they claimed. The Slaton home became a flurry of preparation, packing, and anxiety over the course of the following few weeks. Amy had previously placed an internet purchase for matching sets of pink baggage, each adorned with sparkly stickers that read, Slaton Sisters Take London. However, Tammy was more concerned about the meal. What do they eat over there, Amy? Do they have fried chicken at all? As she browsed online British menus, she inquired. Don't be concerned, Amy said. They also have KFC in London. Tammy wasn't persuaded, though. 10 packages of Cheetos, peanut butter crackers, and her favorite sweet tea mix were among the American treats she brought just in case. When their brother Chris came over to assist with the baggage weight, they were both, predictably, over the limit. You guys are packing for a move, not a vacation. He made fun of it. What is this, Tammy? An entire Pop-Tart box? Tammy gave a shrug. A breakfast of emergencies. Finally, the leaving day arrived. Every amusing event was captured by the production team as they accompanied them to the airport. Tammy chose a glittery Union Jack t-shirt that barely fit her but gave her confidence, while Amy wore a pink hoodie that said London Queen. When Tammy neglected to remove her metal bracelets, mayhem broke out at security. The TSA officer responded courteously, Ma'am, we're going to need you to step aside. Please pardon me, I'm only smuggling food. Amy erupted in laughter while Tammy grumbled and rolled her eyes. From the small bag of pretzels to the touchscreen monitor, Amy was enthralled with everything once they were on the aircraft. But Tammy had one major worry. Where's the Wi-Fi? I must watch my programs. They were kept comfortable over the lengthy journey by the courteous and understanding flight attendants. Amy once persuaded Tammy to sample British tea that was served in midair. Tammy whispered, It tastes like hot leaf water. The sisters were ecstatic when the plane finally touched down. Tammy, we succeeded. We're actually in London. As they passed through Heathrow Airport with cameras right behind them, Amy yelled. A black London taxi awaited them outside, and their driver, an elderly guy named Oliver, was immediately enchanted by their enthusiasm. He smiled and remarked, You two must be the famous sisters America keeps talking about. Yes, it is who we are. The Queens of Kentucky. Amy answered with pride. The famous Big Ben was their first destination. Tammy looked up, amazed. She squinted and remarked, I thought it'd be bigger. Amy merely chuckled. That's still greater than Chris's ego, girl. Next, they went to Buckingham Palace, where they danced in front of the royal guards in an attempt to make them laugh. Tammy created theatrical stances as Amy performed the chicken dance. Naturally, the guards didn't flinch, but the people in the audience did. The sisters later enjoyed traditional English tea at a posh cafe close to Kensington thanks to TLC's arrangement. When Amy first tasted scones with jam and cream, she fell in love. Tammy complained that the little sandwiches were too small for a real meal, even if she liked them. Amy muttered as she pretended to sip her tea with her pinky out, I feel like I'm in Bridgerton. By the conclusion of the vacation, Tammy and Amy had captured a ton of entertaining situations on camera, including riding the London Eye, practicing British slang, and even trying to navigate Piccadilly Circus's congested streets without causing a traffic jam. Tammy grinned quietly when it was time to take the plane home. Amy, I never imagined that I would see the globe. But take a look at us. We succeeded. Amy held her sister's hand and nodded. We are now international travelers, not just 1,000-pound sisters. The London special broke viewership records when it aired on TLC a month later. Fans adored every second, particularly when Tammy referred to fish and chips as fancy hush puppies. Tammy shared the following on social media as the credits rolled. You guys, London was incredible. I discovered that our story begins at home, regardless of how far we travel. However, if they promised to bring me more of those scones, I would definitely return. But the tiny inspirational posters that were affixed to the Slaton sisters' refrigerator glinted in the morning light that broke through the curtains of their Kentucky house. Amy and Tammy both looked forward to and dreaded weigh-in day. Every apprehensive chuckle, every apprehensive look, and every glimmer of resolve on their faces were already being recorded by TLC's cameras. Amy had been awake since 6 in the morning, making herself and her sister a simple breakfast of fruit and porridge. She tried to sound assured as she continued, Tom, no excuses today. In recent months, we have put in a lot of effort. It will be a good day today. Tammy partly smiled, still in her robe. I understand, Amy. I simply get frightened every time. What happens if the scale remains stationary? Amy approached and gave her sister a kind embrace. After that, we begin anew. If you keep trying, you won't fail. The trainer for the sisters, Dr. Eric Johnson, emerged out the TLC van beaming. Good morning, ladies. Are you prepared to witness some advancements? Tammy's heart was racing, but she gave a dramatic roll of her eyes. The portable scale was put up in the living room by the crew. Amy took the lead. Without looking at the numbers, she inhaled deeply, got on, and stared straight ahead. Dr. Eric checked the computer and stated, All right, Amy, you've lost 24 pounds since last month. Amy's eyes grew big, and she started crying right away. Are you serious? My goodness. She threw her hands in the air and yelled, Tam, I succeeded. I did it. Cheers filled the room. The camera crew even applauded. Amy had been battling weight loss and parenting since the birth of her second child, but this moment made all the effort worthwhile. It was Tammy's time next. The air changed. As Tammy steadily ascended the scale, everyone fell silent. Her fingers shook a little as she grasped the rail for support, and her breathing was labored. After blinking, the digital digits ceased. Dr. Eric whispered, You've lost 18 pounds, Tammy. Tammy was silent for a moment. Then, to everyone's astonishment, she smiled, genuinely, without trying. The weight was 18 pounds, she muttered. In fact, I shed 18 pounds. Amy leaped to her feet and embraced her sister. Tammy, it is incredible. Girl, you're doing it. Tammy's tone faltered. It's been years since I've lost that much. I believed I couldn't. The sisters watched the sun set beneath the trees while sitting on the porch later that night. For once, the cameras weren't in their faces now that the crew had gone home. Tammy muttered, You know, Amy, I used to think I'd die before I ever saw a scale go down. Yes, I did. Now, though, I kind of believe I can pull this off.
For the show, no.
Not for anyone else.
For me.
Amy sipped her iced drink and grinned. That's the main point, Tam. Both of us are merely trying to survive. A feeling of calm descended between them as the wind rustled through the trees. The Slaton sisters were not only surviving, but also recovering for the first time in a long time. The show was broadcast on TLC a few weeks later. Globally, fans showered social media with support and affection. For days, hashtags like Amy Strong and Proud of Tammy were popular. People who viewed the sisters as representations of resiliency and optimism sent in messages in droves. If I can do it, you can too, Tammy said in a TikTok video of her dancing cautiously with her walker. Baby, don't give up on yourself. And Amy wrote, We ain't perfect, while cradling her son. However, Each pound lost is a step closer to living the life we deserve. Their weigh-in trip was about more than simply numbers on a scale. It was about tearing down emotional barriers, recognizing one's own value, and demonstrating that when one believes in oneself, even the most difficult burdens can be lifted. One thing became evident to all viewers as the credits rolled: Amy and Tammy's adventure was only getting started. But Amy Slaton woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside her window on a calm Dixon, Kentucky morning. She felt a tiny glimmer of calm inside her heart for the first time in months, when the sun shone through the curtains. Amy realized it was time to put herself first after all the turmoil, including Tammy's frequent ups and downs, heartbreak, weight difficulties, and internet pressure. This marked the start of her recovery process. On 1,000 Pound Sisters, Amy had always been the vivacious, humorous sibling. Behind that grin, Amy had been dealing with her own anguish, but viewers adore her for her honesty and sense of humor. Her marriage started to fall apart after she gave birth to 2 boys, Glenn and Gage. Michael, her spouse, became aloof and unhelpful. Her enthusiasm appeared to be drained further by each dispute. Amy felt utterly destroyed on the inside by the time she ultimately decided to split up. Amy, however, refused to allow her suffering to define who she was. She desired mental and emotional healing in addition to physical healing. Reestablishing contact with her sister Tammy was the first thing she did. After years of battling, Tammy had her own metamorphosis, shedding more than 400 pounds and gaining confidence. Tammy's strength motivated Amy. They made the decision to go on a week-long retreat in the Smoky Mountains, away from cameras and commotion, as a healing trip. A comfortable cabin surrounded by towering pine trees was rented by the sisters. Every morning, they would stroll alongside the lake, enjoying coffee while discussing everything from their dreams to their mistakes to their worries. Amy listened with tears in her eyes as Tammy talked about how near death she had been in the hospital. Amy whispered, "Sis, you are my hero. I learned from you that it's never too late to make changes." Amy also started journaling every night while on the trip. She wrote about being thankful, her children, and the pure delight of being able to breathe. She gradually began to feel lighter, both physically and spiritually. Even though she hadn't painted since high school, she started anew. Tammy would sit close by and encourage her as she watched TV or browsed TikTok. Amy felt as though she had rediscovered herself by the conclusion of the week. She saw a survivor when she looked in the mirror, not simply a mother, a reality TV personality, or a woman who had battled with her weight. After they got back home, Amy vowed to keep on with her recovery. She joined a single mother support group, began therapy, and concentrated on creating a routine that was healthy for her boys. She started preparing her own meals, working out a little, and going on nature walks with Glenn and Gage. "Mommy's getting stronger," she would whisper as she tucked them in each night. TLC cameras reappeared months later to capture Amy's metamorphosis. The new Amy, who spoke confidently, smiled brighter, and took charge of her life, astounded the audience. Standing next to her with pride, Tammy referred to her as the strongest Slaton sister. Amy was shown clutching her kids close as the episode came to a conclusion, standing on her porch at twilight. During her confession, she stated, "Healing isn't about forgetting the pain. It's all about growing from it. Even if I'm not flawless, I'm at last discovering how to embrace who I am." And Amy Slaton meant it for the first time in a long time. But Dixon, Kentucky, has experienced one of those stormy nights when the wind howled as if to warn of impending trouble. As the Slaton residence was illuminated by the blue lights of the police cruisers, Amy Slaton was placed under arrest for narcotics possession for the first time in years. In town, rumors spread quickly. Amy Slaton? From the television program? People muttered. Whatever became of her? The reality was nuanced. For months, Amy had struggled in quiet. Amy had lost her equilibrium as a result of Tammy's ongoing health issues, her failing marriage to Michael, and having 2 young sons. The stress had mounted until she made a decision that altered everything one night in a last-ditch effort to dull the agony. As soon as When the news surfaced that Amy Slaton of the 1,000 Pound Sisters had been arrested for drug possession, It rocked fans everywhere. Reactions erupted on social media. Some defended her, arguing that she needed assistance rather than condemnation. Some were nasty and referred to her as a disgrace. However, her sister Tammy Slaton seemed unconcerned about the publicity. It was personal to Tammy. She has battled depression, food addiction, and near-death experiences. She was aware of how simple it was to fall and how challenging it was to get back up. Tammy was waiting for Amy outside the courthouse when she was freed on bail. "Amy," Tammy stated in a shaky voice, "this isn't you. You need assistance, sis." Amy's eyes filled with tears. "I understand, Tammy. I don't know. I no longer even recognize myself." TLC producers made the decision to intervene at that point. They set up an intervention for Amy's actual life, not for the cameras. The intervention took place at a Nashville treatment facility that was calm. Chris and Amanda were there, determined to help, and her mother, Darlene, came grudgingly. "Everyone here loves you, Amy," the counselor began quietly. "However, you must rediscover your love for yourself." Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Mina, and I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.